Hey, church family, welcome in this morning. I'm so excited to be with you today. I have some exciting stuff to share with you. As you know, we're in the middle of this Storytellers series all about God's stories and how we can be a part of it. So, what better way than to share some stories from our church family? And that's exactly what we're going to do today. But first, I want to know if you have ever been on a mission trip. If so, where did you go and what did you do? So leave your answer in the comments if you've ever been. If you haven't, that's okay. I've had the opportunity to be on 3 mission trips, 2 out of the country and 1 right here in the United States. And one of those trips was to Guatemala with my friend Kealee, who is going to come in and share her story with us today. So you're in for a treat because this was such a fun trip and God worked in so many ways. So introducing Kealee. Hey, Kealee. Hey, how's it going?
It's going good. How are you?
Good. I'm so glad that you decided to share your story with us today.
How could I not share the story about Guatemala, as amazing as it was?
I know. So we're kind of talking a little bit about how we are a part of God's story and God's bigger story through serving. And that's exactly what we did in Guatemala for like 7 days of nonstop work.
Nonstop.
So why did you decide to go to Guatemala?
So I will owe all of this to my mother, Shayla, because she was the one that originally had gone to the information meeting, brought me home an extra flyer, because I even told her to begin with, I'm like, I do not want to go. Like, I'm one where it's like, if you don't know what's going to happen, I'm like opting out. I'm like, I'm good. I don't know what to expect. I'm just going to save my money. I'll stay home for the week. You have fun. But she's like, I'd really just want you to read into it. Like, I think you would really enjoy it, and like it would really benefit you in your walk with God and just like growing like relationships with people inside the church. And that is exactly what it did. And she convinced me to go to Guatemala. Also, my friend CG went as well. And so what better way to go with your friend to Guatemala? But I've never done anything like a mission trip before. I mean, I've served in the community, I've served at the church, but I've never gone to a foreign country and served. And I think you can serve anywhere and it benefits you just as much. But I think serving in a foreign country where the poverty is so high, and they just like don't live the same way that we do, it really opens your eyes to a lot. And so just to experience something like Guatemala, honestly, is an unforgettable trip and something that I'll never forget.
Mm-hmm. So you kind of talked about like, I'll just save my money instead.
Yeah.
I thought that was really funny because it was such a cool story of how God provided for you and your mom to go to Guatemala. So do you want to share that story with us a little bit?
For sure. I love sharing this story because it was just like a coincidence. So we have a really amazing family friend who, before I'll talk about how like me and my mom were sitting down, we're like, okay, how are we going to provide our funds to go on this trip? Because it's not a cheap trip by any means, but you just have to work for it. So we were like, okay, we'll just like reach out to family friends. We'll put videos up. We'll like just ask for donations, provide as much as we can personally from working and stuff. My mom reached out to one of our family friends one day and kind of explained to him like, hey, she was only like advocating for herself. So it wasn't for me. And she's like, hey, I'm going to Guatemala. Like, I would really appreciate prayers. And if you would love to donate, like that would help out tremendously. And it just so happened that he had donated enough money for both of us to go. I remember my mom coming home and being like, we don't have to raise anymore. Like, you're not going to believe this. And it was just like incredible. And he really provided, obviously, the whole funds for both of us to go to Guatemala and experience that. And I remember always saying, like, it's not just me and my mom experiencing Guatemala, it's him as well, because it was because of him that we got to be the hands and the feet of the Lord in Guatemala, because if it wasn't for him, I mean, who would have known? Like, maybe we couldn't raise enough money to go. But yeah, it was incredible. And it was such a like coincidence that he was just like here. And it was just like, wow, like we both get to go now. And it was amazing. It was incredible.
I remember asking you like how fundraising was going and stuff like that. And you're like, we have like nothing. And then the next day you're like, it's fully paid for. It's like, what? That is insane.
Yeah.
I use that story and I tell people that sometimes when they're kind of on the fence about money and mission trips and stuff. And I'm like, hey, if you just like trust and pray, like you never know what God's going to do.
Yeah, for sure. Because I know some people get super nervous about like, I don't want to ask people for money because, you don't want to be like, I don't know. But it's really tough asking for people for money. And I'm not going to like lie about that because it is. Because I remember when we were trying to go to Jamaica this summer, I was like, okay, now I have to do this again. Like, how am I going to ask people for money? Because to go on a mission trip, it's just, yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, that was God working through our family friend. And like that was like, okay, like I am meant to be on this trip. I am meant to go. And I think after that, I was 100% in, like, into this trip for sure.
All right, let's throw up a picture here.
Aww.
This is Kealee in Guatemala, working on a house. So can you tell us a little bit of like what the trip was like?
Yeah, okay.
What you expected?
No, not at all. And like I said before, I'm one where it's like, I don't know what to expect. I'm super nervous about going. More times than not, I just opt out of going.
Yeah.
Before you go on trips, most people, you kind of like envision what it's going to be like. You know what I mean? You're like, okay, this is what it's going to be like where I stay. This is how it's going to be. You know what I mean? And it was the complete opposite of what I envisioned, but I'm kind of glad that it was the complete opposite because it was just incredible. I say incredible so much, but it was literally incredible. I mean, when you first get into Guatemala, you're just like overwhelmed with just like what you see. Like I said before, they live differently than we do. It's very busy. When we were in Guatemala City, I think you can attest to that. It's very busy. Cars are everywhere, horns are everywhere. It's insane. But we actually ended up staying up in the mountains of Guatemala, which is a little more secluded, a smaller town for sure. Yeah, every time I like think about going to Guatemala or just think about the trip, I like get overwhelmed with like happiness because it was seriously an incredible experience. And I think my favorite part about all of it, not only like serving this family and like giving them a home to live in and so much more other resources, because with that home they had water, you know what I mean? They had a roof over their head. I think my favorite part was like building my relationship with the people from our church, honestly, because there's people that went on that trip and we've talked about this. It's like, we have no idea who they are. Like, we've never talked to them before. You know, you get nervous because you're staying with these people for a whole week and you're like, how am I going to be able to bond with these people? Like, are we going to be able to like have stuff? You know what I mean? You just get nervous about stuff like that. But now, like, I see people from our Guatemala mission trip and I just get so excited to talk to them. So excited to see them. So that was my favorite part, truly, was building a relationship in Guatemala with the people from the church. You create a bond that's undescribable, honestly.
Yeah, I totally agree. So one of the reasons we went was to actually build a house for people. And we talked about this a lot, but they basically were like, they have to tear down their own house. So before we even got there, they had to be trusting that these gringos were going to come, they were going to tear down their house, and these group of gringos were going to come and build them a new one. What was it like walking in and seeing them come out for the first time?
It was one of those where it's another thing where it's like, okay, let me envision what this is going to be like. And it's the complete opposite. So I remember we got off our bus dropped us off on the side of the road and it was like, yeah, you have to walk down that alleyway to get to it. And we're all just kind of like, an alleyway to get to where? But yeah, we're just walking down and I remember coming up and you have like, to the right, there was that bigger house that family members had lived in, but they only really had a shed because like you said, they had to tear down their house and basically put full 100% trust in us. These gringos just coming across, hopefully they end up coming and just like building us a house that can withhold the weather or like actually stay up. So I think that was incredible that they really put their trust in us to do that, because I remember them coming out for the first time. They were so excited to see it. I think the excitement was mutual, and I think that is another incredible thing. It's like you have all these different walks of life that come together and trust each other through the Lord and basically bond over the Lord and how good he is. And and I'm sure that they prayed for something like this forever, because I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, they wait on like a list to get on so that people could come in and build them a house. So I'm sure they were like, okay, let's get on this list. And they're probably on there for quite some time. And then finally, when they got the call, I mean, I think it was even harder to just tear down your house, what you worked so hard for. Yeah. Trust these people. It was incredible.
I think the organization that we worked with, they actually work with local churches and local pastors to find the people who are most in need, who actually need the house the most. So I love that they are connected with the local church too. Yeah. That's one of my favorite things. Like, we're not just, we're going there to provide something for them, but they also already have a relationship with the church, and that's going to keep pouring into them. I think that's really cool.
Exactly.
Yeah. So how did you see God's story kind of working out through you as you were serving?
Yeah, so, I mean, my faith journey is just one that is insane. I owe a lot of my faith to the Summit Church for sure, and I think going on this mission trip just kind of expanded that and expanded my love for the Lord and expanded, like, His creations and how He works through people. Um, I'm gonna go ahead and talk about it now. I simply remember after every night we have basically devotion time or a time to come together as a whole, like, hey, let's talk about our day. Like, how did you see God today? What was your favorite part of today? And I remember it was probably after a few days of being in Guatemala, I was one that I just never really talked. I kind of just stayed back, held my emotions back. And I remember I was finally ready to talk, and I can't remember exactly what I said, but I just remember breaking down in tears. Like, I could not talk, and I was just overwhelmed with emotion. And it's not an awful overwhelming. You're just like taken back because you just like you see God like working through me, through you, through that family. Like, it's just the presence of the Lord in a place like Guatemala. I mean, and the presence of Him anywhere is amazing. But in that certain time in Guatemala where I was so fearful to go, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't even want to go at first. And to experience that overwhelming emotion of Him is just, it takes your breath away, honestly. But yeah, that it was incredible.
I think it's just such a good reminder that we experience God in like a circumstance that's really normal. Like we're always coming to church, and maybe we're in a small group, and that's where we kind of experience God through relationships with other people. And you don't think like you. Sometimes I feel like people don't think that they can go somewhere else and like, oh, God's going to be there working the same ways He does in my life here.
Exactly.
And it's like He does. Like it's amazing.
Yeah, I have goosebumps just talking about it.
Like, like it doesn't matter the language or where people live. Like our God is just so good in any circumstance. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So what would you tell someone who might be like you before you went, kind of having anxiety or fear about going on a trip and like serving God in a whole new context?
Yeah. Well, first of all, do it. Just go for it. Dive in. I know that's so hard to say, like, just dive in, you're fine. But seriously, it is very nerve-wracking at first because, like I continually say, you don't know what to expect. You don't know what you're getting into. A lot of people struggle with the financial side of things, and that is definitely a struggle, and but it's worth it. I promise it is worth it. Yeah, it'll change your life. And I know that's no way to say like, oh, this mission trip changed my life, but it seriously will change your life. Like I remember coming back and I'm just like, my heart, like a piece of me is like forever in Guatemala, like forever in that place. Cause I remember our last day we drove by the house because we weren't working that day. And we were all just like, we want to stop so bad and like see them and see how they're doing and stuff.
I'm gonna throw up a picture of that real quick.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, you just meet the most incredible people. And like we talked about, like language barrier, location, like no matter where you are, like the Lord is there. And like, obviously it was so hard for us to communicate because obviously they spoke Spanish and we tried our best, but it was still like, we made that connection, but we made that connection through the Lord and His glory and everything. And anybody, like if you want to serve in a foreign country, if you just want to serve here in Lee Summer or in Kansas City, I recommend do it. Do it. It is amazing. You just to see the Lord work in different ways. Cause like you were saying, we can worship normally like at church or just like in our small groups. But like when you go out and really see the Lord and the way that He works in other people's lives and the way that you can help be the hands and feet of the Lord in other people's lives, it is amazing. It is, I wish I could pick another word, but it is amazing. And I totally recommend anybody to experience going to a foreign country, or even like you served in LA, even in the United States, because we have obviously issues here as well. Do it. Dive in. Trust the Lord. Pray. I'll support you 100%. I know on that. Like, try to recruit other people. We're like, come on, you can totally come. Like, it's so fun. Like, you can just hang out with us, and we'll show you the ropes. Like,
next mission trip that comes up, if we see you, we'll probably be trying to recruit you. So.
And people are coming around saying there's girls trying to recruit for mission trips. Us too, because
it will be so fun.
Yeah.
So this picture is actually of the finished house, and this is the whole family. Everyone but 2 people actually live in the house, which is kind of crazy. The children's parents died in a car accident, And so they live with their grandparents now, and this is their new house.
Yeah.
So it was actually pouring down rain too. And the little girl in the middle was really mad to be in the rain. She was not mad that we were there.
Yeah.
To be in the rain.
It really showed that we did really good on the house building it, because as soon as we finished, it poured
down rain, no leaks. It was great. Yep. So I have one last picture to share. Well, it's kind of two. So yeah. At the end of the build, the family, to say thank you, provides a meal for us. And we were really nervous that it was going to be like a traditional Guatemalan soup. And they're like, it's fine. Just eat it to show, you know, say thank you and stuff. And they actually brought us fried chicken.
Yeah, and French fries and homemade tortillas.
Yes. It was amazing. We were so excited because we were so hungry.
Yeah, and we were so nervous too. And as soon as I remember Ryan was with us too, and we were all just like, and we got up there and they served us, and we were like,
fried chicken.
It's like another reason to show like amazing things happen. Like seriously, amazing. Because we were so nervous, but we got like an amazing thing. But yeah.
Yes. And of course the watermelon. Fresh fruit. The family would provide like a fruit for us every morning, which was so sweet. They have so little, but every day they were like bringing us something to say thank you.
Right, and they went out and got us like soda and stuff too while we were working. It was just like us showing them like what we were doing. They like appreciated us back. Like they were like, we want to show you like how much we appreciate you as well and want to work with you and help you. So that was, yeah, they were so nice.
So cool. All right. Well, that's kind of the story of Guatemala. There's many more stories I'm sure that we could share.
Yeah.
But thank you so much, Kealee, for coming and sharing with us today. I love hearing about how God uses stories or situations to share the love of Jesus. Like, it's my favorite thing. It's so cool.
Yes. I always love chatting Guatemala with you.
I know. We could just relive it.
Yeah.
All right, Kealee. Well, thank you so much. I will talk to you later.
Yeah. Thank you, CG.
Bye.